Hey everybody, I am John with The Wealthy Sailor and welcome back. To anybody who may be new, this is a channel that I created to talk about personal finance, budgeting, investing, and business, mainly to help me track my goals of reaching a $500,000 net worth by the end of 2021. So if you're new here, welcome. We pick different topics pretty much every video and we just go over different things, or I just tell you pretty much how my current goals are going. Please give me a like, a subscribe, anything like that, and let's get started. All right, so today I want to talk about credit cards. So basically, if you're not good with credit cards, or if you don't have any current credit cards, or your credit cards that you do have are maxed out, this is not the video for you. I'm going to be talking about how I take advantage of my credit cards, but the first step to that is to be able to have credit cards without falling into the credit card consumer debt trap that they cause. So if you're the type of person that can't handle a credit card without maxing it out, not the video for you. Please watch one of my other videos because I really don't want to lead you down a path I really think is bad for the most consumers. Okay, so a brief backstory on why I have my credit cards. When I got divorced, I pretty much canceled all my credit cards I had because my ex was a co-signee on my credit cards. So I canceled everything while we were going through the process of divorce in order to protect myself. So I had to make new credit cards. So I basically went online to see what I was pre-approved for, mostly using Credit Karma and Mint.com because both of them push credit card products. So I ended up with two. I ended up one with the American Express Blue Preferred Cashback Card. We're going to talk about that one first because it's probably the one that I like the most. Now, for starters, straight up, it has a $95 a year fee. I've been able to get 2 of my 4 years with it waived just by calling them and saying, okay, I want to downgrade cards then because I don't want this fee anymore, and they've waived it for that year. Now, even with that fee, it gives you a lot of perks, and one of them is it gives you 6% back on grocery purchases. Now, disclaimer, when you buy groceries with it, it does not count places like Walmart, Costco, or Target, which all sell food. It's only grocery stores, like the standard grocery store. Like Safeway's big in my area, or Publix, stuff like that, it counts. It won't even count like Whole Foods sometimes. But if you go to a regular grocery store and that's your standard thing, it's 6% back, which is amazing because I spend like $800 a month on groceries. So to get 6% back on that purchase would really help me out. I'm sure it would help out a lot of people. So the second reason I like it is it gives you 3% back on gas and other transit stuff. So I use it for my Easy Pass system. For those of you who don't know, it's a transponder you put in your car, and when you go across bridges or tunnels or even some turnpikes, it'll automatically deduct. So I have my American Express card linked up with that to get 3% back each transaction. That's my main uses for that particular card. The other thing, and it doesn't really give you too much for it, but if you have it attached to any streaming services, it gives you 6% back on that too. So 6% back on food and streaming services, providing the food is actually from a grocery store, and 3% back on gas and transit. So very good. Now it has a $95 a month fee, and like I said, sometimes I get it waived, sometimes I'm not able to get it waived. But overall, I like it. I think it's a good card and I keep it. So before I made this video, I looked it up to find out what the current sign-on bonus is for it. And right now it's $250 worth of points if you spend $1,000 within the first 3 months of using the card. For me, that's not a problem because I use the food for everyday purchases and I just pay it off at the end of the month. But for some people that might be a problem. So definitely, like I said, if you're the type of person to get a credit card and immediately max it out, this is not the video for you. So please don't get this card with the intent of putting $1,000 on it unless you know you can pay the $1,000 off. So besides the fee of $95 a year, there's another problem that I ran into that I didn't think about before I got there, and American Express charges more than most credit card processors do. And because of that, some places just don't accept it. It's usually not a huge problem because I have other cards and I usually travel with cash. But one time I was driving through, I think, like rural Georgia, and I stopped at some small gas station to put gas in my car, and they just wouldn't accept Amex, which was fine. I had cash and I had another card, so it was fine, but it did catch me off guard a little bit. Now, outside of there, I've never had any other problem with anyone else accepting it, but just be wary of that. So the second card I use this for pretty much every other purchase that's not food or gas or transportation. And it's the Chase Sapphire Preferred card, and it has a ton of perks. But let's start with the bad first. It's again $95 a year, and I have not been able to get any of those waived for the last 4 years of me having this card. So just know that going into it. I personally don't like fees, but I do get a lot of rewards with it. So I did the math on it and it works for me, but it might not work for you. It depends on how you and your family spend on a card. Okay, so now that the bad's out of the way, let's talk about the good. So it has a pretty generous sign-on bonus. 60,000 points if you spend $4,000 on the card in the first 3 months. Now for me, that's not a problem, and for you it might be. But I find in 3 months it's very easy to put about $1,300 a month on a card if you pay it off immediately. So additionally, you also get $750 worth of rewards through their travel if you go through the Chase travel portal. So if you go on their website, they actually have a travel portal you can go through, and you can buy tickets or rent cars, hotels straight from there. Now be careful with this because that might not be the cheapest price either. So what I do is I go to like other websites like Kayak and Hotel.com, stuff like that, and I compare to what Chase is offering. But because they give you such a good amount of bonus stuff for using their portal, most of the time it works out better just to use their portal, but it depends on how much you travel. Okay, so the reason I like this card, one, I travel a lot. Like, I mean, come on, I'm overseas right now making this video. I spend 9 months out of the year outside of the United States. I fly a lot. I'm in hotels a lot. I end up eating at restaurants a lot, rent cars, all that stuff. Well, on all these travel-related expenses, it gives you 2% back. It also gives you 2% back on eating out, which is something that, unfortunately, as if you've watched any of my videos before, you know I am bad with that. My family's bad with that. We tend to eat out more than we should. But it gives you 2% back on that. It gives you 1% back on literally everything else. So it's not a bad card at all, and I use it for so many things. Usually at the end of the year, I have a ton of points that I can use on whatever, or I can roll it into the card to pay it off, or whatever I want to do. Okay, so another thing it has, and I have not used this program yet, but I just looked it up to see how it works. They give you 25% higher value when you use their travel portal. So the way it works, from my understanding, is that let's say a hotel costs $100 on their travel portal. Well, they're knocked 25% off of it for you. But again, I haven't used it, and I don't want to speak too much about it because unless I have firsthand experience with things, I don't really feel right kind of pitching it as a good or a bad thing because I haven't properly done due diligence, so I can't pass that on to you guys. So if anybody else has any comments on it or anything, please leave a comment below because I would love to know more about how that works. So they have a deal with Dine Dash, and I don't use Dine Dash. I barely use Grubhub or anything like that, but I want to use this when I get home so I can actually see if this works. But they will give you no charge for delivery as long as the order itself is more than $12 for, I think it's all the way up until the end of 2021. And then that runs out. Additionally, they give you 5 times the points back for if you use Lyft. So they offer a bunch of little perks too that I'm just going to throw in there. One is that if you have multiple Chase cards, you can combine all the points from multiple accounts into one account, so you can then spend it all as one. So if you have like a bunch of different Chase cards, you can take advantage of that. I don't, but some people do. You can also transfer your points to airline hotel partners, and they have a list on their website. I didn't bother noting any of them down, but they do have that if you want to take advantage of that. Also, any trip that's booked with the Chase card, you can actually have refunded up to $10,000 per ticket or $20,000 total. And that's if it's delayed for weather. They say illness, so I'm not sure if it offers pandemic stuff, but it might. So they also offer certain things if you have lost or delayed baggage. So for example, if for whatever reason your bag is delayed, then if it's more than 8 hours, they will give you up to $100 a day or $500 total for you to cover toiletries and buying new clothes, stuff like that. They also provide rental car coverage. When I looked it up, it looked like it was pretty good coverage. But to be honest, I've never used it and I don't have any experience with it. So, and the last really good thing I saw with it was that it will cover purchases up to 120 days. So I looked into an example of when this is used to try to understand it better. And one of the things it said is that if you buy something and it's stolen off your porch, then they will actually insure it and buy you a new one. Now, I thought this to be an odd thing for the car to cover because I've had this happen to me before, and I just call Amazon, and Amazon fixes it. But I guess if you order from a website, or maybe Amazon won't fix it, you can call Chase and get that fixed too. So overall, I don't think it's bad at all. I just haven't taken advantage of a lot of the services, but it's nice to know it's there in case you need it. So anyway, I use both these cards mainly as a way of accumulating points, and I pay them off about once every 2 weeks or once a week. I'll go into the accounts and I'll just make sure everything's paid in full. That way I don't have any revolving balance. I am going to reiterate this one more time if you made it to this point of the video. Do not get a credit card with the intent of doing what I'm describing if you don't have the self-discipline to not max out your card. It just won't work. You'll end up paying so much more in interest than you'll ever make back on the points. So please be careful with credit cards. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I'm getting better with YouTube, so if you notice, I'm gonna put like some stuff up here, like a click for my next video here, or subscribe here, or something, or maybe on this side. I'm not really sure. I'm getting better though. I promise. I'm trying really hard to make better videos for you guys. But anyway, thank you for watching, and keep saving.